Hello, everyone. I'm happy you're here to listen to us. We have gathered to do the polemic pool yet again, and we are all excited. And it's my topic, so I'm the most excited. I'm Laura Castelletto, and I have my two regular friends with me here today. Introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Well, I'm Jerry Bowes over here, and I'm going to pontificate as usual. How about you, Steve?
And I am Steve Anderson. Nice to be here.
He's going to make trouble. And we have a guest today,
Hello, I'm Matt Lovell, and I'm the guest today.
which is going to be good. And
Yes.
I got to choose the topic, and I said experiences are better than things. But this is Polemic Pool, so I wanted to take it up a notch. So I said, okay, here's what I want to say today. I am the most exciting thing in the universe, and I'm going to prove it to all of you today. Do you have any comments?
Well, that's pretty narcissistic, don't you think, Steve? And
Well,
Matt?
at this point, we're pretty used to Laura, so it is nothing that really shocks us.
Besides, she's a little bit off base because the most important thing is sitting next to her over here, and I'm speaking currently, so.
Yes, that's true. Well, could you give us a little more information beyond the statement that you made so we could there's something we could put our teeth
How is
into?
it that you came to that conclusion?
Well, I think nuance takes away from my ability to polemicize. However, it is important. Sure. I would like you, Jerry, to think that you are the most exciting thing in the universe. I would like that. And you, Steve, and you, Matt. I think it would be great if everyone kind of had that viewpoint. I really do. And then tried to live a life worthy of themselves and have experiences. And I think that would be just a wonderful and different world. And that's what I want to say. And I want to say that just having a nice house or a good job or new shoes or a girlfriend, viewing things as viewing life as a bunch of things you have to do and get is a mistake, and you should be trying to live your life for experiences.
Now, how's that different from the virtues of self-interest, some Ayn Rand kind of concept?
Yes.
I really dislike Ayn Rand a
Well,
lot.
then
Well,
that
how about
differentiate
more of,
away, huh?
Ralph Waldo Emerson, maybe that, we'll take it back a couple notches, obviously self-interest was a beautiful, well-written book of his, and so perhaps maybe that's it. I myself, I'm taken back by the whole thing. I think if there's anything wrong with our society in general, as a general statement, we tend to be so narcissistic and solipsistic that I think it affects our social health. I notice people not holding doors for people. I notice the courtesies of ma'am and sir and those kinds of things have diminished. At least that's been kind of my observation. And it sounds like you're saying, well, let's really, rack it up, go further, and pretend we're the only ones that are worthy. At least that's what I'm hearing. Am I misstating your case?
Of course you are, Steve. I expect that from you.
Well, I just need you to make your case more so I can get at the meat of it.
Yeah, and it's a tricky one for me to nail down for you, okay? Because I think it's just slightly different than the way people see things, and it's hard to kind of say, like Steve, you want to lament about the state of the world or whatever, and I don't really do that, and I feel that a lot of people think negative very, very often, and you can find something negative around you all the time, but to dwell there is not good. It is much better to be positive and to have positive experience. And I know there's 100 ways you can take me off the track of what I'm trying to say right now.
Right,
Mhm.
we will.
And I could.
Yes.
I'm resisting, actually.
No, I doubt it. But there is a way to go through life that is positive and is joyous and will give you a better life. And I can try to sum it up by saying experiences are better than things. And that's the way to keep growing and to keep challenging yourself.
So
That's how I wanna live.
experiences are not things? You're dividing the two as if there's a difference between them.
I would say there's a
What do you mean?
crosshair.
When you say things, you mean like material things? Is that what things mean?
Yeah, and I understand that at some point it gets hard to even separate them. But I want to go
Exactly.
more towards experiences than objects and things.
So materialism is are you saying that materialism is way too valued in general in our society?
Oh yeah, I'm saying it. At the very least, I'm saying that. But
And we
Just-
should substitute obsessing with ourselves as
No.
a variation?
no, that the self is yet another thing. But it's just a slight change in your viewpoint that I think makes a great difference. And it gives you then the ability to define things differently.
Matt, what say you? I'm puzzled
You've
by
been
her-
sitting out for a while here. Are you ready to jump in and get your feet wet in the polemic pool?
Do you understand what she's saying?
Yeah,
'Cause
help
I
us
don't.
out.
I'm trying to make sure that I have a good beat on how things work here before I jump in and potentially obstruct things. But what I'm hearing is in the whole. Here's what I hear when Laura said what she said. She phrased it differently into she's the center of the universe, we should all be the center of our own universes, and there's a reasonable argument at that point of we become very narcissistic, very self-serving at that point. However, it seems to me that that's not really the core of what we're talking about here, because if I actually go through life saying I'm awesome, I want to be awesome, I want to experience awesome things, it's been my experience that I don't want to do those things alone, ever. I want to do those things with people. So if I'm trying to live as awesome as I possibly can and be awesome, I'm going to want people to want to be around me as well. I'm going to want to have people with me. The most logical way to do that is to be a desirable person to have around. For me to be as awesome as I can be and live the most awesome life that I can, it's like I actually have to, thank you, I actually have to, I can't be self-serving. If I'm only self-serving and trying to be the best person that I can be, there's an obvious conflict there. Like, obviously, if people like me, if I'm effective in a social environment and in what I'm doing, that's being me. That's really being a good, it's what I should want to do, and that's experiencing life fully. So that's kind of what I heard, is that it seems like at the core, there isn't necessarily as much of a narcissistic concern. But I wasn't totally sure that's what you were saying, so that's why I hadn't jumped in at that point. So
Would
that's
you
where
at
I'm coming.
least give me the fact that it's very Western kind of, that whole thought process is very Western in its nature? It's, there's humility can also be a motivating force in attracting other people to be part of your group too. The mere fact that you don't think that you're so special and you don't think that you have all the answers, and the fact that perhaps that's more encouraging for other people to be part of your group because you're not thinking of yourself. But perhaps I still need more information, Laura. I may be doing you a disservice, and maybe I need to listen to more. But so far, I don't understand what you're saying.
I'd like to jump in. Are you just trying to say, live a rich, full life, grab every day, carpe diem, express yourself, live life to the fullest? That kind of thing?
Yes, yes, indeed. And I feel that that's rather a challenge to do, and that we are tamped down by the forces around us. The idea that we're supposed to behave, and
Where where to accommodate ourselves in life,
Yeah.
we give up too much to the great society and others, and we limit ourselves in our speech, in our dress, in our manner.
And however, it's sort of projected that that will be a detriment to society if we act out more the way we want. But in reality, I think the opposite is true. I think if more citizens, if you think of it that way, objected to things, or more employees objected to things that were wrong and unfair, which they want to do, but they go along to get along. But if they actually were a little bit more difficult, it would be good. So I think we need to look at experiences carefully and demand more.
Would the fact that one of the pet peeves I have today is everybody's offended by everything today,
Yeah, that's very tiresome. Yeah.
and it is tedious.
It is.
It would seem, based on your kind of concept, that would just take that attitude and be on steroids. That it would go even, it would become worse. You're going to be offended by everything because everything is in your world, and you're going to offend many people, right? But that's okay.
Your division of thought into East and West was kind of interesting.
Yes.
And I think what you're saying now is, again, is sort of looking at things crooked. I think that, for example, people say, remember to breathe.
Okay.
Take a breath, remember to breathe. That sounds like a reasonable thing to say.
Yes.
But what if you are supposed to take action? What if you are supposed to solve a problem, not sit there and breathe and be calm? What if you are supposed to do something? And the reason that you can't remember to breathe and need to be told to remember to breathe is because something's bugging you, that you need to do something. You need to go out and do something. And people who are offended are in that same category quite often. The reason that there's a reason they're offended, and it's not directly to do with the offensive person. It's because they're not right in the world. Does that make any sense?
No.
I don't feel I'm doing a good job there.
Not that I can see.
No, I agree with you.
And I think that to make a distinction between breathing first, I think the idea of breathing first is to breathe, give yourself a few seconds to make an assessment. Recognizing your breath doesn't mean that you shouldn't react. Recognizing your breath doesn't mean that you shouldn't defend yourself or explain yourself or whatever. It just means that take a second. Don't let the reptilian brain take over.
Oh, okay.
And so, I'm hearing, and again, maybe I'm just still not getting enough information, that you're saying, let it hang out, wake up the reptilian brain, and just let it fly, and let the chips fall where they may. I don't like that.
Well, I've got a problem from a different angle.
Oh, please.
Experience leads to knowledge. That's what's called empiricism. But experiences can be misleading so often,
Oh gosh, yes.
and we can allow our experiences to lead us into very destructive, personally and socially, tracks. We can. And the whole idea of just basing our life on experience. And I'm extending your concept of experiences being primal. Expanding simply upon our own experiences can lead us into philosophical, political, social quagmires of all sorts.
Well, think, say Thanksgiving is coming and your family comes.
Yes.
Don't think about the turkey and the clothes you're going to wear. Think of it as an experience, and I think you'll have a better time, and everyone else will too.
So what kind of experience are we talking about here? Can you define that more? Because I'm pretty sure I understand what you mean generally, but um, what is the experience then? It's a fairly vague term of just whatever I'm doing, I'm experiencing something. So specifically with going to Thanksgiving, what is the experience then?
Well, I think that would help you snap it into focus, because you won't get lost in details, offended by your relative that always bothers you, or upset because your turkey didn't brown right. You can go, oh well, the experience here is going to be family and celebration and
Why have the
change of
turkey?
seasons.
Do we need the turkey?
You don't need the turkey. No.
Forget the dressing.
The turkey is
Forget the food.
You can
it's a
reinvent
thing
customs.
that we center the experience around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The turkey's a nice thing.
Yeah.
You might go for a goose
Sure.
or a tofurkey.
So here's another little twist on it. We talk a lot about being in the moment,
Yes.
and I love to create situations through some of my hobbies, for instance, so I can be in the moment. I love to juggle because I'm forced to concentrate on what I'm doing and being in the moment. I like the Zen approach of focus. I'm a climber. I just got back from a rock climbing trip, and boy, when you're climbing, that is all you are thinking about. The rest of the world washes away, and that's one of the things I love about it. Trying to be in the moment in our busy, busy lives in the modern Western world is very difficult. So what are your thoughts, Laura, about experience and being in the moment? Is there a correlation that you're trying to make there? Is being in the moment a richer experience?
I apologize for doing a poor job this evening. I feel I'm not really clarifying very well. I did just dig 5 huge holes and plant 5 big trees.
Good for you.
And it's an example.
You were in the moment.
I really love to go and plant trees with people, and the experience is really hard to express, where other people you don't really even know are coming together, and you're putting work together and doing something that you're all going to share later. And it's hard to say why that is so revitalizing, but everybody gets it once they do it. And so
I think I got it.
so it's a little hard, but as a tool of a way of thinking, to just think about something as an experience rather than a set of things is useful. And we are kind of told, it's a kind of a cliche that Jerry just said, the busy world, whatever, the busy life, but we're always trying to catch up and getting tools, and maybe our smartphone will help us with our busy life, and we'll take some notes and we'll multitask and da da da. But cut yourself some slack. Maybe the busy world ought to back off, and it's too much, and you don't have to measure up to the busy world because it is too much. You can just say, no, I'm going to knock it down to only 3 things that I'm doing today, and that's going to be good enough.
Well, I think it's probably a prescription that a lot of us should listen to. If you look at the degree of neurotic behavior amongst many people, I think a lot of that is due to being on that continuous treadmill and not being able to get off. So whether it's juggling or climbing or planting trees or
Art prize. I think I keep wanting to bring up art prize as an example.
art prize, those are ways of us to divert and get off that treadmill. And perhaps it's as important as REM sleep is for humans to be able to, I don't want to say retreat, because you're not really retreating, are you? You're just focusing away from the normal day-to-day kind of activities. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just try to avoid being offended by small things and think of the experience and view life as a test that you want to do well on, rather than some abyss you're falling into.
Matt, have you any contribution at this point that like to make?
So it sounds to me like the way that I've experienced this in my life is when I have some sort of specific expectation for something, that specific expectation can make me feel disappointed in a situation.
True.
Where if I didn't have an expectation, at least not one so specific, like Laura said, the general idea of being with family and friends, if that is my goal and my focus, it eliminates, or at least it lowers the likelihood that I'll be offended or have a worse time based on the little things that don't really matter. It's just refocusing what really matters and what the experience is. That sounds like that's what, to me, the things are the little individual things you get hung up on, the expectations you have. The experience that is better is just the general idea of being there and just feeling whatever actually is here and not imposing your own beliefs on what should be. Is that true? Is it reasonable?
Yeah.
Well, I like that.
I like that too.
That's something that came to me rather late in life, is to lower my expectations, both from individuals, from experiences. So go into it, and things don't work out quite as well. There's still a great deal that you can draw.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I understand where you're coming from now, Laura. I understand. Matt, I think you did an excellent job just explaining that. And I think having expectations to some degree is okay, but I think we over expect, even marriage as an example.
Right.
When I tell people I've been married for over 41 years, it's like, congratulations, and I'm almost taken back by it. Why say congratulations? Basically, I have low expectations. Now, what I mean by that, so I don't get in trouble with my wife when she hears this podcast, is that we don't require our spouse to fall into what our expectations are all the time. And she has her set of skill sets, and I have my set of skill sets, and they're different, or they may be different. And so my success, if you want to call it that, in being married for so long, is that I don't require a lot, and she requires very little of me. And so, does that make any sense?
Well, you're missing
yeah.
the fact that you love each other,
Yeah.
right?
Well, here's a concrete example from my life, because I kind of went. Everyone goes through a rough patch or sometime or other if you're in a long-term relationship, and I too have been married 40 years, and I came to learn that I too was expecting too much from my spouse. That there was, in one small area, I was looking for some spiritual growth and some spiritual fulfillment, and I was looking too much to my spouse to be able to bounce things off of and be simpatico with. And I realized that's not her role. It
Right.
became more evident to me. She's not there to make me spiritually happy.
That's
It's
right.
my own course that I have to find and draw from any number of sources
Sure.
to make me full and rich and realize myself in the area that I want in that area. So once I came to that, I realized I am putting way too much pressure on my wife and on our relationship in this area that I need not do.
Yes.
And so, like, you just have to realize that people only offer so much.
Yes. Exactly.
And you must draw from other people what you can, where you can, but do
Yes.
not expect all things from all people.
Yes. I agree.
Now, I wonder if it's worth clarifying here something, because you keep on saying don't expect as much, lower your expectations. I feel like that's not what I found success in. It's
Okay.
more
Okay.
in refocusing my expectations to be far less specific. There are certain things that I do, like I, on a weekly basis, go in art with Laura and other people. And I don't have a specific expectation for what I'm going to make or do most of the time, or who's going to be there, or what specifically is going to happen. I don't even go there specifically for the art. I go there because I like the people. And it's another thing that Laura said. What about the love and the relationships here? This is what I think the general focus should be on. I feel confident every week that I will have a good time. I don't know why. We do different things every time. Different people are there every time, but in trying to join with other people to specifically have fun together because we care about each other, it opens up a wide range of opportunities that I would have missed had I been specifically focusing on something that I was expecting. So it's like I have great expectations every week. I'm going to have a great time. Why and how, I don't know. And because of that, I can make sure that I do have a good time, taking advantage of whatever opportunity is presented.
Well, that makes sense. So
Yeah,
it's not.
and that's fair.
So you're not saying that you're lowering your expectations, but you're not requiring those expectations to be met, but you have a more generalized expectation, not a specific one. Is that kind of fair to
Yep,
say?
I think so, yeah.
Well, we're at the point of the program where I guess we can try and do our final summary of our ideas, and then begin to talk about what our next topic might be. So, Laura, now that you've had a chance to reflect on on all this, do you have any final comments?
Oh, yeah. Again, I feel a little out of it. I was in holes, 3 feet deep digging.
But thank you for making those holes, by the way.
Sure, but it's not a trivial idea to say that experiences are more important than things. I feel it's not trivial. I feel it's one of those slight changes of course that will take you into another place than you were headed, and it's a much better place. And you can go through difficult things with the right attitude and not let them drag you down, and go to sleep happy at the end of the day, and happy with what you did about them and your relationships with the people who gave you difficulties. You just see them as a series of tests and experiences, and you're going to do the best you can. You sort of detach a little bit from all the emotional static at that low level, because you're functioning at a higher level. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. And I thought I might make more of a case for things tonight. It's coming up from a polemic side. I recently finished a wonderful book called The History of the World Through 100 Objects by McGregor. He's a member of the British Museum, and he picked 100 objects to illustrate the history of the world. And it was a wonderful book. And the profoundness of someone who's really knowledgeable in describing an object and putting it in its societal context, and showing how an object can reflect a people, their art, their beliefs. It was wonderful work, and it really impressed me on the archaeological side of history. So I was going to go on about things, but the truth is I'm a very experiential person myself, and though I was tempted to go there, I didn't ever really feel the need, because I think we realize that there's a balance between things and experience.
Yes.
It's exciting to be alive, and I'm not going to be alive forever, and I don't want to forget that. I want to be as much alive as I can.
Well, my final statement, I guess, is when we get into expectations, I think we get so trapped. It's like, that feeling when you're late for something and you're in the car and you need to be someplace at a certain time, and you can feel the stress build, and you notice all the lights are always turning red. Obviously, we know that's not the case, and so maybe, just maybe, those red lights we can use to our advantage, so when we do stop and take the breath and realize, you know what, we're going to be late, but that's okay. So, on that note, Matt?
I feel like the argument that you're possibly thinking of making of the history of things and how objects can really have a lot of significance, I think is kind of actually the same point. It's still the object is something that we can remember and focus on and have a good illustration point, but effectively the things that you were saying were still about the history of people and what we've done, and I feel like it's still all experiences. Like even when we do focus on objects, it's like we're not really focusing on the right point. The object, it can be very valuable and helpful, but I think it still is the experience that we're pretty much always appreciating, even if we focus on the object itself.
More like a reflection of the experiences.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
It does too. Steve, you have the next topic, don't you? Next time round?
Well, you know what? I think I do. And since I'm ill prepared and I guess didn't know that it was my topic turn, thank you very much, Jerry. I appreciate you doing this. What I wanted to talk about is expectations. This is kind of, a segue into our next one.
Hold
and
on.
my argument is,
Hold on, though, Steve. We were going to have Kat as a guest, and she
Oh,
was
that's
going to talk
right.
about the sacred.
so I was put on the spot for no
nothing.
reason.
For no reason at all. You can prepare it.
May or may not be edited out.
Damn materialist, you.
We were going to have another guest
That's
who's
right.
going to talk about the sacred. What is the sacred?
Wonderful.
Because we're trying something new here on the Polemic Pool. We're trying to draw in more people and have guests. And our next guest is going to bring the topic. And it's again on
What is sacred?
what is sacred.
And her name is?
Kat Russell.
Wonderful.
So I
I'll
look forward to that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we
thank you
didn't-
so much, Matt, for
Yeah.
being involved in the conversation. You made some excellent points.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Maybe we could have you another time and you could suggest the topic.
That'd be fine with
That'd be
us.
great.
We could possibly do that, yeah.
Awesome.
Great, great.
All right.
Well, that's it for the
All
Polemic Pool
right.
tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Take
Hugs
care.
and kisses!
See you
All
later.
right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm sort of treed out.